Hi everyone, it's pawxpi here, but you can call me Paul, and welcome back to my book reviews. I'm so happy that my other two reviews, people have been enjoying it, and I have so many already posted on my site, and I'm just trying to catch up with the videos that I have, so I'm very happy to talk about this book. This one is connected to the last review, so don't watch this one after you finish reading Fourth Wing, because we're going to be talking today about Iron Flame. This is the second book in the enquiries series, and I loved it. I loved it. As usual, this review is gonna work out that I give the synopsis. I'm gonna put a timestamp if you're ready. If you don't want to watch it, I would just put a timestamp right here, or you have to skip to. And besides that, I'm gonna go straight into the ratings, my non-spoiler review, and then into the spoiler review and my final thoughts. So let's get this started. Everyone expected Violet Sorrengail to die during her first year at Basquiat War College, Violet included. But threshing was only the first impossible test meant to weed out the weak-willed, the unworthy, and the unlucky. Now the real training begins, and Violet's already wondering how she was going to get through. It's not just that it's grueling and maliciously brutal, or even that it's designed to stretch the writer's capacity for pain beyond endurance. It's the new vice commandment, who's made it his own personal mission to teach Violet exactly how powerless she is, unless she betrays the man she loves. Although Violet's body might be weaker and frailer than everybody else's, she still has her wits and a will of iron. And leadership is forgetting the most important lesson Basquiat taught her. Dragon riders make their own rules, but a determination to survive won't be enough this year. My rating on this book, I was a bit torn because once I started this book, I was just not getting into it, and it started like a 4 or 5. But now that I've read it, and now that I've read like the bonus chapters, I think I could give it a 4 to 4.5 out of 5. It's not as good as Fourth Wing because there was just a lot of context and a lot of things that needed to be explained about how the last book ended. That for me, yeah, it was nice, but like I got it. I just kind of want to get straight into the action, but it was still a really good, amazing book. Going on to my no spoiler as much as I can review. As I said, one of the first things that really just hit me the wrong way was that the first few chapters were very slow. The last book ended on this huge thing, and there was a lot to explain, so it makes sense. Like the first couple chapters was just like contextualizing everybody about what happened and putting, I think, the reader back on track. But because I read the book one right after the other, and Iron Flame just continues directly, like right after Fourth Wing ended. It was just like a continuation. There was no few months passed. No, it was like literally the minute it ended, the minute after is where Iron Flame started. It was really easy to go into it, but I do understand that need to explain, because I feel like if I would have read this at the normal time span where it was published, I might have needed like a little recap in a way of what happened. So it's a good thing, maybe a bad thing, I don't know. There's something that I did love, is that right off the bat, we can see Violet's internal turmoil. You can see that she's feeling lost and betrayed and confused, just as the reader is feeling as well, and not trying to give anything away. Like, it just gave a little bit more edge to her character, feeling these feelings, and I definitely appreciated that. Like, I think the first part is just internal turmoil, maybe guilt, just trying to figure her way around, and she was just lost in Basquiat. She got her feet on the ground and finally started feeling like she belonged for a moment, and now that is all changed. And now there's another place in the map that got unlocked. And that also comes with the uncertainties of what that place is and what could happen there and how this could affect her and the people she loves. Now I'm starting the actual review with spoilers, so if you haven't read it yet, you can go, because now is the real deal. I'm going to be mentioning like this one is kind of separated by the two areas, so between Basquiat and Arisha. And as I also like expand a little bit on each character. So we ended on such a crazy note. We ended knowing that Brennan was still alive and that he was nowhere in our grounds. He was in the enemy ground pretty much. So that is crazy on its own. And I feel like it was such an awful cliffhanger, but I feel like the Iron Flame cliffhanger is way worse than the cliffhanger we were left at Fourth Wing, and I am worried about the cliffhanger we'll be left at when Onyx Storm comes out. So that is going to be rough. I did have a feeling that that was going to happen, and I had a feeling that there was a missing piece in this like plan that Violet had and Satan had, and we did know that our Shadow Man had some secrets he had to keep from Violet, and there's even more secrets told in this book that I can even grasp my mind about it. It just feels wrong for me to say it. You just have to read it because it's not my secret to say. It's Satan's secret to say. I'm glad Brendan's alive, but at the same time, I don't know. I feel I get like icked off. Like sometimes he's just annoying too. He's just like, you know, big brother energy and just a little cringe, and he hasn't seen his family in like a while, so it's a little weird and a little awkward. And that's like the first chapters are them like, you know, getting up to speed. I feel like the book itself got better when they had to leave Arisha and go back to Basquiat, because if not, they might go looking for them. They knowing everything that they know now, they had to, you know, go back and see what they could do, and there's nothing they really can do if they're in a completely different land. So that's where the book got good. I couldn't put it down after that. Just knowing, because that they knew they were gonna get interrogated, that they knew they're gonna raise some concern after seeing that they came back, after they were sent to die, pretty much, that I was like losing my mind. I was like, what is Dane gonna say? Are they gonna kill Dane? Are they gonna mess up with it? Because I would have, like, maybe I would have killed him, but I would have done something. I don't know. I'm not going to lie that I feared that the entire revolution was going to end when they came back into Basquiat. I felt like it was gonna give away their plans just by them coming back. I just felt like that was gonna affect it, and I was terrified. I'm glad it went the way it went, I guess. I don't know. But I would have paid anything to see the face of Coronel Ados, to see his face when he saw that all of them walked in. Well, not all of them, because there were still losses. Rest in peace, I'll never forget you. But seeing them walk back after, when they were just about to announce that they were dead, I would have given anything to see that reaction in their faces. Like, and for the longest time, I felt like Violet's mom was involved more, and I still had a feeling, but I guess in the end, we realized that she really didn't have anything to do with it. But I did have a feeling for the longest time that she was involved in it, and that it was all a way to just like kind of sacrifice her daughter for some reason. I don't know. When they come back, they don't really get in trouble because, like, I guess they're just happy that they're back in a way. But when Satan and Violet were separated, I was heartbroken, because why would you do that to the dragons? Why would you make the dragons go through that? The dragons don't deserve, like, this is not like, you know, there's a bond, and why are you trying to control something that is uncontrollable? The system that was made after Satan graduated really messed with me. I just felt like they were trying to bend the rules and mess up with the dragons for some reason, when they are not creatures to be messed with. They got what they deserved. I'm just saying, Varys got what he deserved, and he was just an awful, awful creature. But yeah, besides the dragons being apart and me being hurt because they're apart, I feel like it was nice to see Violet on her own. For a while, she was just Violet and her friends, and we got to see Violet just develop as her own person, and, you know, yeah, look into it and study and do all these things. But it was nice to see her like connect with Jasenia again and study and figure out and do some research, and sad to see her have to hide things from Ree and Redog and Sawyer. But we still got to see just Violet. When Jack Barlow came back, my heart dropped. I did have a feeling that he was going to come back at some point because they never announced Jack was dead, in those scrolls. And that just kind of gave me something to worry, because I don't feel like that's something that Rebecca would have left out by mistake. I feel like it was purposely mentioned that he wasn't mentioned on the scrolls after the battle because he wasn't dead. And I had a feeling he was going to come back. But it makes sense after we know that he's a Venom now, that, how's the name? Nolan was working on him, and that was taking Nolan's soul away, trying to fix Jack's soul. But I feel like Jack was unfixable, regardless of what Nolan was trying to do and Barrish was trying to do. I feel like he was unfixable because he already had a very tarnished soul, and he already had a very dark soul to him, that I feel like it has to be someone with a clear, clean soul in a way that could be able to actually maybe make it past and take that Venom-ish things out of their system. Yeah, I can't believe as soon as he came back, he was trying to be nice, he was trying to be caring, but we all knew that he had something else in mind. We all knew he was going to snap at some point, and of course he did. I think the best part of this book was the worst part at the same time, which were the torture scenes when Barry's just started, like, after he was finding a way to get information out of Violet, he was trying to get Violet to fall. Like, this whole villain arc that Varys had with Violet was like my favorite thing in the book, but it always kept me on my toes. But I feel like he was always trying to find like anything to be able to interrogate Violet. He was trying to make her fall for anything, and I'm glad she was able to escape through it for the most part, and because this helped her, get more knowledge and get more strength and be able to be stronger for when the moment actually came. But the torture scenes where Varys already had her in were insane. I think that scene really proved how strong Violet is, besides everything else, because we've seen physical strength of Violet and Taryn and Andarna and Violet and Satan, but we had not seen like the mental strength that she has, that it doesn't come from being a writer only. It also comes of her having the soul of a scribe and have the mental clarity that scribes have and being so mentally leveled. I feel like Varys was hoping to be able to kill her at some point, but I feel like all he did was make Violet stronger, and she wouldn't be where she was at the end of the story if it wasn't because Varys twisted and broke her mind so much that she was able to fill the shattered places with iron and it just be strong. I was so twisted, but I loved it. I loved being able to have a glimpse of Liam again because I missed Liam so much, and having him be like Violet's like guardian angel in her mind, it just shows a lot of how amazing of a man he was and of a character. When Dane came into the room, I lost all hope. I lost everything because yeah, she could be strong to Varys, but Dane, that was her best friend growing up, was her crush for the most part of her life, and a man that could read her memories. It was the biggest threat to Violet to ever exist, besides maybe threatening Satan's life. Like, he was like really up there, and I could have not expected any less of what expected would happen. I didn't think this was gonna happen. I thought there was going to unravel like a war between like Navarre and Arisha. That's what I thought it was gonna happen. But when Dane saw what Violet saw and he realized what he has sent her to do, I guess that's when his redemption arcs began, because he was able to see what he did. Violet knowing that she could select the memories she wanted Dane to see, and him seeing all the pain and chaos and destruction he sent his best friend and the woman I think he loved for a long time as well, and seeing her suffer like that and seeing the dragons be destroyed like that and seeing Liam and all that, I feel like that snapped him back into reality. But I still don't trust Dane, because there's this big conspiracy theory that the people that have orange dragons, which are the most unpredictable ones, are the ones who turn Venom. Like Jack Barlow, Varys, Dane, like, I don't remember his name anymore, But the guy that was friends with Brennan that sacrificed his soul for Brennan also had an orange dragon. I think that's it. I might be retelling this wrong. I've read so much about it and seen so many different conspiracy theories that I am like, oh, I love it. When he grabbed the dagger and took Varys down, I thought this is where Dane redeems himself. But I guess it also shows a glimpse that he was also a victim of his father's plan, and the actual bad Ados here is his father and not him. He's just a little pet trying to keep everybody happy. But he was about to redeem himself, and I am glad he took Varys down. And also with Satan, let Violet take the last blow. So the last thing those evil eyes ever saw was the Violet swearing guilt defeated him. And it could all be an act. But I do to some part believe that Dane was also a victim in this situation, and that because his father just, after pretty much knowing that he was going to be one of those memory readers, he probably just shaped Dane to the T to be able to control him and have him do as he pleases. The moment where I knew it was all going to change was when Taryn and Violet and Taryn let everybody see the venom and the wyvern and let them have a choice of whether they wanted to fight for the entire land and go to Aricia or stay in Navarre and just choose to ignore this huge threat that is about to take down the entire school of Basket and probably even more. Reading all the writers and teachers that decided to go to Aricia and make a change, it gave me goosebumps. I started tearing because I saw that so many people had been lied to for so long, and even in this moment of pressure, they were able to make the right decision because they, at the end of the day, are writers and they're meant to protect and they're meant to defend. So that was amazing. That was so inspiring. And when they got there, I can believe it was such a hard thing to adapt, and going from a place where they all hate, you know, the rebellion kids, the marked ones and whatnot, to going to a place where they are the one who are ruling must have been something really hard to do. But I am glad to see them, you know, and eventually Mira joining them was just amazing. It was just like an extra, yes, we got her too, even though she was uncomfortable, of course, because now the leadership was, you know, swapped, but it was amazing. And I did like that they tried to give some sort of normality to the students, and the teachers still give the battle debrief and give classes and, you know, explain what's going on and still teach. Here they're working in harmony. Here it's one big community they all have the same goal of protecting the people in general. I feel like one of my favorite parts now that Violet's in Aricia, but it also connects when Violet was in Basquiat, is that we were able to see her use her signet a lot more. We were able to see when Varys was trying to murder Violet, pretty much, make her burn out, see her use her lightning power over and over again and somewhat polish it. And now that she's in Aricia, now she's trying to research and, you know, which is also bringing her scribe side out and trying to find a way to get the warts up. We can also see her really polish her lightning powers, and that was really cool. And I also enjoyed, after every hate I'd given to Dane, it was also really nice to see just Dane, Jasenia, and Violet just researching together and trying to get stronger together and figure out a way out together. I think it was like a cool team. I'm happy. I'm just happy being able to see Violet be herself and be with other people and train herself and be something beyond Satan, a more empowered woman image in this second book than maybe what it was in the first book, because she didn't feel empowered. She didn't feel confident. She was just worried she was going to die every other second. So now she's more in control and more empowered, and she's free to be herself. Kat is every woman's nightmare. She's perfect and she's insane, and she wants you to feel insane. Plus, she has this insane signet that her whole idea is to get under your skin and make you feel like shit and doubt everything that you've ever seen in your life and doubt every relationship and any contact you had with anyone. So she is every woman's nightmare. She just is. But I also kind of like, I kind of liked her. I kind of liked how seeing Violet jealous and seeing Violet like meet this like enemy. Is that she was more personal than every other enemy we've seen like in the first book. Just like, rather, that's a spawn of Satan, that's the Antichrist, which is meant to just destroy my heart and my brain. And that's what Kat did. But eventually Kat did redeem herself. I liked how like the relationship between Kat and Violet just kind of went beyond the hatred they have for each other. That one whole thing, like I taught him that trick. And when Violet said, you know that finger trick that you taught him? Thank you for that. I lost my mind. Like I lost it. But they found a middle ground. Kat never loved Satan. Satan never loved Kat. It was just an agreement, and they were just kind of enjoying time with each other, which it's the whole point of writers, I guess, since they are meant to die, I guess. So Kat is only there for the position that Satan will bring her if they married, and that there was nothing beyond that. Because you imagine if there was actually like she was actually in love with Satan, that would have made it crazier. But now seeing that there was just materialistic intentions, I was like, okay, chill. That's not that bad. And I'm okay with that. So yeah, the chair scene, I'm not gonna go into it because oh my lord, I can. I have to keep this as PG as possible. But the chair scene, that was crazy. The quote, my house, my chair, my woman. I lost myself in that scene, and it was insane. I was like jumping through the reading so fast. I had to catch myself to go back because so much was happening, and I was just like trying to keep up because I was losing it. But I'm glad. I like that in this books, like the spy scenes are very spread out, and they all have a meaning. So it's just not them, doing it because they want to. Like, yeah, of course they want to, but it's not every time they want to, because if it was up to them, every time they wanted to, there would be no rebellion. There would be nothing going on besides that. But I do like it's very spread out, and they all have a meaning, and they all have like they help the story. I just love that everything of that scene, it was because Satan wanted Violet to feel satisfied and wanted her to believe and understand that she is the only person that he wants next to him on the throne. Then no one else is going to be in that throne but her, and that is her righteous place to be. I feel like in this book, now talking about Satan, I feel like this book was meant for the reader to fall in love with him, see what Violet sees in him, because in the first book, there was a little bit of, back and forth. But here, we really are able to see what the type of man he is. We really are able to see how strong-willed he is, and how much he's willing to sacrifice, and how much he really loves her. And I feel like it did work. I fell in love more with this character. I didn't even know that it was possible. I didn't know he was able to get better than that. But now we can see him in his area, in his righteous position of being leader at his home. And he was able to be so much more vulnerable and show more of his scars and more of himself to Violet. And I feel like we were able to fall in love with him just so Rebecca can break our hearts again. When Violet figures out the second signet and everything just falls apart, I feel she overreacted, because I wouldn't have fallen apart. I'll be like, okay, cool. I would have made my questions. I would have felt a little uneasy for a while. But besides that, I would have been cool. Like, it's fine. But there's this quote that it definitely broke my heart. That it said, less than a minute, Satan whispers as Iago moves towards us. That's how long it took for you to fall out of love with me. And my heart shattered. Even Tern didn't know about this. Seattle had kept this a secret as well. And I think it just kind of was like falling apart, this bond that they had, all of the four of them together, because now it really split the dragons apart. I feel like, if anything, it was helpful. I feel like him being able to see through Violet's issues and being able to see that she actually meant well, even though she's a Sorrengail, it did help the story of them get better. Because I feel like if he didn't, he would have never trusted her. He would have never really been able to connect to her. So I feel like it did help. beyond her mom sending Satan to take care of Violet, beyond you somewhat trying to use her to see if she can help in the rebellion or not, I feel like this helped him feel reassurance that she's indeed a good person and that she was someone that he could actually trust. I loved that when the final battle happened, we were able to see Violet's senior work with her moms. I feel like, I don't know, there's a connection between parents, writers, and, kids writers. Their seniors somewhat mesh and work together. But it did show that Violet and her mom, they were all kind of like one piece that were just split in two. They're all one whole. And it was really nice to see them work together. Yet again, I still feel uneasy to know what was the involvement of Violet's mom in this whole situation, but seeing them work together, it did show that they were very compatible and that they were actually meant to be the two of them together as well. But the situations that happened, the only thing that they did was split them apart because they would have been such a strong duo. At the end, when Violet's mom sacrificed herself to the wards, I was bawling, I was crying, because I feel like that was like the ultimate proof that she actually did love her children and that she actually did everything she could to protect them and to keep them alive and to just be able to have them by her side because she already lost the love of her life. Knowing now that Andarna is even more rare than what she was meant, that what she was already was, because she was already really rare. It was just really nice to see that she's actually more special than we already knew she was, and how her admiration for Taryn really shaped her. I love how involved they also were. Like now all of them have a connection, and now like they were more involved into like Violet's daily life and what actually made her feel bad and hating on Kat and having this whole issue with the Gryphons and the new characters that were added. I love how they were just now like an actual little family in their heads, just talking together and snapping at each other and having this whole like very familiar interaction. And I love that. I love we got so much of that. And I hope that in Onyx Storm, we were able to get more of Andarna. The ending. Why, Satan? Why? That was the craziest plot twist I've ever read, I've ever seen in my life. I felt the heartbreak, but I also, not only the heartbreak from Violet's side, but the heartbreak from Thiago and the disappointment from Taryn. Why? I understand that Violet comes first, even first in his bond with Thiago, and I understand that he knew that Violet was going to be his undoing. But the thing is, like, bro, we didn't need you to do that. Onyx Storm is going to be like, I feel like Onyx Storm is only going to be Violet trying to find a way to cure Satan, because we can't lose that boy. We can. So yeah, I can't believe it. I am heartbroken. I feel like everybody was heartbroken, and now Satan being the same level as Jack Barlow is actually so disgusting. But you see the difference. Jack Barlow became a Venom because he wanted more power and more control, and he wanted to do damage. Satan became a Venom because he wanted to protect the woman he loved. It came from a place of love. So my final thoughts. I've been all over the place in this review, but this is what this book is. This book is all over the place, and it keeps you at your tippy toes. But my final thought is that I can't wait for Onyx Storm. But I do love all this character development we got in Fourth Wing for Violet, for Jasenia, for Rhiannon, for Rita, for everybody. Everybody got such a strong character development, even Brennan and Mira. I feel like it's setting us up for something bigger. I am glad we got to see the research and what happened with the wards and everything that they were going to trying to protect Orisha, for them to leave Orisha unattended pretty much and go fight for Navarre and Basquiat. But it showed a lot of growth. It showed a lot of chaos, and I feel and I hope that we get a little bit of more stability for a while in Onyx Storm. But at the same time, I doubt Rebecca will give us a few chapters of them just being stable in one place and not having so many losses and so much chaos going on. But it was amazing. I enjoyed every second of this book. Besides the first couple chapters that I was a little bit, I felt like I had to push through, but it was enjoyable. The ending was insane. I fell in love more with Satan than I thought it was gonna happen. These books are opening to a new era for this kingdom in which the right thing is done and everybody's gonna be safe. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. My links are all going to be down below so you can follow me, and please go check my blog where I actually write these reviews. I already have like 5 reviews posted, and I have reviews scheduled almost for the end of the year. It just takes me longer to record these videos because, you know, recording and all that, setting it up, finding the right day to do it is really difficult. But if you really want to see beforehand, even like a month in advance of other book reviews, go check it out. You can just make a free subscription and you'll get them in your email and you can just read it through. It's super nice, super simple, it's completely free, and I'm sure you're gonna love it as well. Please let me know in the comments if there's any other books you guys want me to review and read. I will definitely enjoy hearing your suggestions. Yeah, thank you so much for being here. Just see you next time. Bye.